living in the most advanced period of our time. Time can only go forwards, and the same can be said about technology. With new technology, we can see the quality of our lives improve, as well as the introduction of great things. We can also see improvements on already existing aspects of life, making whatever it is better or more efficient. This is why things like Mad Max pisses me off. Gaming technology has never been better than it is right now, and although things can only get better from here, I fail to see why we have to have shit AAA games come out that lack any form of creativity, fun, or user-friendly mechanics. The movie was highly rated upon release, and whether or not you liked it is irrelevant. What is relevant is that enough people thought that it'd be a good idea to make a game based on it. And too right in my opinion. That film had so much action and cool stuff in it that a video game adaptation was the obvious course of direction to take. Loads of action and fun, a large open environment filled with viciously decked out cars, a post-apocalyptic world where everyday survival is harsh, and the possibility of a fantastic and gripping story. All of this could easily be put into a video game adaptation of the film. How anyone can fuck that up is beyond me, yet Warner Brothers somehow managed to do it. The 2015 game Mad Max should have been called Scrap Collecting Simulator 2015, because picking up pieces of scrap metal makes up for about 75% of the gameplay here. The game starts out and you get the basic tutorial, along with a bit of weapons training and resource gathering. It teases the player into thinking that this is a survival game, when it tells you that you'll need to replenish your water supply every so often, and that water is scarce. But this isn't true at all, as water is quite easily found and is used to replenish health. But if your water runs out, then that only means you can't get back any health if you lose it. Water is basically a med pack in here. Now, whilst there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, and it works fine, there was an obvious chance to add in survival elements into the game here. And it's very clear that this isn't a survival game, because you can get run over by a car, front on at 80 miles an hour no less, and barely get damaged at all. The game environment looks harsh, and a resource and survival management system would have added to the feeling that we're living in a world that wants to kill you. There was a fantastic chance to give this game some depth and immersion, but that opportunity came and went and was asked never to come back again. The plot consists of you decking out your car, which you would have done anyway, and to deck it out even more, you need to complete missions that sometimes includes driving from point A to point B. Or driving from point A to point B and then beating up some dudes at the end of it. The combat is okay, I suppose, but it reeks too much of the Batman Arkham series. I know that both were made by Warner Brothers, but again, the combat doesn't feel threatening in any way. Press one button to attack and one button to parry. And if you're lucky, press another button to perform an execution move. Or you could just keep hitting the attack button. That works as well. Though the combat looks good and can appear to be quite brutal in places, the feeling that we're in a fight for survival is ultimately made redundant the second you realise that you're just mashing the attack button with the occasional parry or dodge thrown in. It's not uncommon to be surrounded by a huge group of dudes and kill all of them with no damage done to your health. Now, there is a sort of resource management system here, and when I say resource management, I mean picking up every bit of scrap metal you find. This is primarily used to upgrade your car, and can be found all over the place, including stronghold camps, resource caches that are scattered around, it's given to you as quest rewards, and can also be found on the dead bodies of your victims, and all of this makes sense. What doesn't make sense is that scrap is also used to upgrade Max's abilities. I fail to see how scrap metal makes you punch harder, or allows you to perform different finishing moves. What would have made sense would have been something that allows you to improve your skills whenever you level up or gain a new rank. You know, like a point that can be spent on skills? I wonder if such an idea has ever been used before. What's even more annoying is that there are skill points in different skill levels, but they're kept separately from your fighting abilities. You can upgrade your fighting skills, armour, etc, whenever you want by going to the pause menu, but to upgrade how much health you have, or how much water or ammo you get from resources, can only be upgraded by going to this one dude who constantly moves about the map. This just strikes me as a means of wasting the player's time. Why do I have to spend time travelling across the map to this dude to upgrade my shit, when I can already upgrade some of my other shit in the pause menu? Why not just bung it all in together in the menu? Another moment that wastes the player's time is opening containers. I see this as completely fucking stupid, and here's why. Some containers you find are sealed, so to open them, you need to first hold down the action button to begin opening. Next, you need to mash the action button to actually open the container, and then once you've done that, you need to hold down the action button again to pick up its contents. Why all the button pressing? To make us feel like we're actually opening the damn thing ourselves? It doesn't! It feels like I'm pressing too many buttons for no good reason when pressing it once would have done the job. This wouldn't have been such an issue had I not been required to open so many fucking containers. I seem to recall games like Ninja Gaiden Black or even God of War where you only have to press one button, hold one button at the most. It just serves to waste time, purely to make it feel like the game is actually bigger than it is. Speaking of which, during the loading screen, you'll be given hints and info about the game. One of which tells you that the game map is not empty, so go out and look for stuff. Yes, this is true, but barely. The game is practically empty. There's not much in the way of main missions, side missions, extra events and such. There are loads of resource camps, but that's not fun. You go to this one place, maybe kill 3 dudes and pick up a load of scrap metal, and that's it. Do one and you've done them all because they're all the same. Another time waster are sandstorms. They come in and Chumbucket, fucking hate that guy. He only ever says 3 things. Scrotus, Convoy, and Dinky D. But anyway, he tells you that you need to take cover. Now during these storms, you can barely see anything, so you get the impression that the game wants you to take cover and wait out the storm. You can't fast travel during this time, or at least I was never able to, and driving around in a storm is ridiculous because you can't see where you're going. But I ask you, what does this contribute? Nothing. By the time the storm has passed, all you've got to show for it is 5 minutes plus spent standing still somewhere wondering when you'll be allowed to carry on playing the game. This isn't immersive. In fact, you've effectively taken the player out of the game because you forced them to just stand there, kicking their heels and waiting for the storm to reopen the game for them. It's like going to a theme park and waiting in the queue for the next ride, but it's temporarily closed off because they're doing some tests on it. There's no fucking plot either. Your goal is to take down a guy called Scrotus, a guy who you fight in the intro cutscene, which is an awesome cutscene by the way, until you remember that you could have been having this much fun, instead of the game just showing you cool stuff, but then he doesn't show up for pretty much all of it. The rest of the main story is spent driving from one place to another and upgrading your car as you go. He comes back at the end after he kills this girl who likes you. Oh my god, that part sucked. Max didn't want anything to do with her or her daughter, but when they're killed he's all like, "You killed woman, me angry," and then you go off, kill him and take back your car. The end. Game of the year, 10 out of 10. Then there's the car combat, which isn't awful, but the driving mechanics are, let me tell you that right now. The driving mechanics leave a lot to be desired. They do improve if you improve your vehicle, but not by much. And enemy vehicles will hound you to the ends of the earth if you're not careful, even if you've got a fully upgraded car, and it doesn't help that it feels like you're driving on ice. In the desert of all places. So many times did I think to myself, right, I just need to drive down this hill to my destination. It's just a short distance, so let's not get into any car fights, okay? But as soon as the screen loads, a whole bunch of enemies jump me. Let me tell you a true story. I agreed to do this one side mission where you need to drive a lorry across half of the map. The catch is that you've got almost no means of defending yourself. You have a shotgun with you, but I only had about 8 rounds, despite having full ammo. So if I can get to the end without coming across any enemy vehicles, then all the better, I said to myself. But no sooner had the screen loaded did 3 vehicles, I'm not fucking joking, 3 vehicles came flying around the corner and took half of my health off right there and then. I ended up racing to my destination with about 10 cars on my tail, not enough to take out with my 8 shotgun rounds. After a long and agonising ride, I got within sight of my destination and had somehow managed to lose all of my pursuers. But the game thought that that wasn't fair, so it spawned in 3 more guys who ended up destroying my lorry. The story doesn't end here, however. This meant that I had failed the quest and would have to go back to the quest giver who was halfway across the map. I opened up the map screen so that I could fast travel, but to my annoyance, the game refused to let me fast travel. Turns out you can't fast travel during missions, and for obvious reasons, I might add, but even though I had failed the mission, the game still thought that I was in the middle of it, and only once I returned to the quest giver would I be allowed to start again. But I wasn't going to take that, so I went to the main menu to abort the mission, but once again, the game had me. Turns out you can't abort missions in this game unless the game offers you that option. Why? No, seriously, why? I want to know. Most other games allow you to do that. I did notice that if you die during a main mission, then you're given the option of aborting, but I could never seem to do that in a side mission. There's no real motivation in this game, there's no real story, the gameplay is lacking and falls short of anything remotely fun. This game feels like it's about 5% fun, 65% repetitive, and the other 30% is dedicated to wasting your time. It's not completely terrible, I want to say that right now, but everything that is included falls very far from anything remotely fun, and so I really can't recommend this game to anyone. It's just another failed attempt of getting people to get into the new gen system, and whilst there are some good titles out there for the new gen, Mad Max certainly isn't one of them. And I can't think of a decent send-off line, so I'm going to end things here and hope no one notices. Hey everyone, True Review here. Just before I go, I wanted to give a big shout out to Bitten Mandel, I hope I got your name right, for the awesome new True Review channel thumbnail. There's a link to his channel in the description, so make sure to give him loads of love and support. See ya!